Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode with the Health and Harmony Girls. I was like, my voice went with. We're super excited to have you guys on another episode, and today we thought we would chat to you a little bit about the happiness chemicals in our brain and how to hack them. So they are, I'm not going to get into it right now, but there's four main chemicals in our brain that we would classify as the happiness chemicals. So we thought, why not just touch on some ways to access them and to elevate them and to just be able to control the happiness vibe in your brain.
Love it, girl. So, like you said, there's four chemicals.
Yes.
The happiness chemicals. And all four of them are released in different ways and via different things as well, which we'll get into as we go along. But should we start with...
Also, before we even start, can we just touch on the fact that we know we are all like mind, body, spirit, and everything is connected. But please, can we note that we are actually speaking about chemicals in your brain. So this is not some mumbo jumbo that some people think is woohoo. It is scientifically proven. Like, these are actual chemicals in your brain that are stimulated by these things. So you have the control to change or to activate these chemicals by doing some of the stuff that we're going to speak to you about. So that's just super important to know. It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. It's not witchy.
Yeah, I was like, this is not some woohoo stuff. I'm like, this is scientifically... This episode is proudly sponsored by scientifically proven methods of the brain.
Of the brain.
Okay, so let's start off with, I think let's just name the four chemicals, because I'm sure there are things that you guys are familiar with. If not, like I said, we're going to touch on them. So number one is dopamine. Number two is oxytocin. Number three is serotonin. And number four are your endorphins. So those are all your happiness chemicals in your brain. I'm sure you've heard of them before, but if not, we're about to get into them.
Yeah, so which one do you want to start with? Because
let's start with dopamine order. Maybe. Okay, yeah, there's no specific order, guys. We just named them in whatever order we've written them down in.
Okay, so dopamine is basically the reward chemical. Yes. And this is like, if you think about all four different ones, they all come from different things, but I feel like this one comes mostly from you and how you feel about your life. Because it's almost like when you set a goal and you achieve it, you release dopamine. What else?
So like Rox was saying, it's your reward chemical. It's not a reward as in like when you finish something, you know you're going to get like a piece of chocolate. That's a reward. Yes, that's a physical reward, but it's your rewards that you feel. So like Rox and I were talking about earlier, sometimes it can actually be a little bit weird because you may be working towards a goal and like when you reach the end of that goal or complete a task, for instance, you will have that dopamine chemical released in your brain. But Rox was even saying she was listening to a podcast and
so basically they were saying
yes,
sometimes we release dopamine before we've even reached that goal. So let's say you've now decided that you found something that you're very interested in and you've signed up for this course and you're so excited because this is your new passion, your purpose, whatever. Just that excitement of signing up for that course or whatever can already release dopamine, which is it's not a false reward. You're still getting dopamine, but that's why we always tend to procrastinate or not finish tasks that we set for ourselves, because we've already got that reward feeling of the idea of doing something before we've actually completed it. So just watch out for that, guys.
Yeah, a lot of people, you may, I think, over feeling a lot of the happiness emotions, because some people are a lot more emotional than others. Some people may experience dopamine, like Rox is saying, about just signing up to a task. But I think overstimulation of all of these chemicals can also be a bad thing, because it will literally desensitize you to those feelings and it just becomes like normal for you, and it's not something really to work towards. So this is your reward chemical. And like we said, completing tasks, doing self-care activities, things that are amazing for you, eating good foods and celebrating your little wins. So like we always say, if your little win for today is moving your body for 5 minutes, that's your dopamine release for the day. Like you have completed a task, no matter how long.
And also it's good to remember that it also enables motivation, learning and pleasure. So it's almost like the best thing for you when you want to start learning something or you need the motivation to do something. So Yeah.
Everyone needs a little bit of dopamine.
And then I found quite an interesting thing, which are dopamine boosting foods. I mean, obviously most of these chemicals are generated in your brain or wherever the chemicals are relative in your body.
But this refers back to our podcast on high vibe and low vibrational foods. I mean, like Rox is going to touch on the dopamine boosting foods. Things can affect your vibration, so they can definitely affect the chemical balance in 100%. Your brain.
Food is basically medicine, and the quality of the stuff you put in is the quality you're going to get out. Okay, so dopamine boosting foods, number one is foods rich in healthy fats. So that's like your avocados, fresh tuna, olive oil, walnuts, trout. It's just basically nuts. Fatty fruits and veg, stuff like that, and obviously your fatty fish. It's your good fats. And then number two is lean proteins, so chicken, fish, lean beef, and lentils. Number three is foods rich in omega-3s, which is also, again, very similar to your healthy fats, salmon, nuts, seeds, and healthy plant oils such as flaxseed oil or canola oil. Then raw or dark chocolate. Love
a little bit of dark chocolate. None of us ever need an excuse to eat dark chocolate, but now you've got one.
Blueberries and strawberries, healthy nuts and seeds again. Foods rich in sulfur compounds, which are like your collards, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, kale, chard, garlic, chives, onions, and scallions.
I feel like I get a dopamine release on garlic every day.
No.
Garlic on everything.
Ain't no vampire ever gonna get us.
Yeah, no way.
Then also folate foods, which is your leafy greens, broccoli, cauliflower, chickpeas, black beans, papaya, and lentils. Apples, you know what they say, an apple a day.
My worst fruit. I hate an apple. Yeah, apple pie.
Bananas, which are also high in an amino acid called tyrosine, which has been linked to promoting dopamine production. I didn't even know that.
Very interesting.
And then prunes, the poop.
I was going to say prunes will make something else work too.
They're also packed with tyrosine, so that's quite interesting.
Very interesting. So that is dopamine. Your reward chemical, guys, dopamine. Some little ways that you can access it. Okay, number two, let's touch on oxytocin. So oxytocin is your love hormone. So we've done the reward hormone. This is your love hormone. Now, love can obviously be internal and external, but I think your love hormone is more about receiving physical love or giving physical love. So some examples would be like to play with the dog. Some people get really happy and feel a lot of love playing with puppies or playing with the baby. Like some people experience that exact same feeling, but one is with an animal, one is with a child.
Yeah.
And then holding hands also is a way to like feel physical love, and obviously giving people hugs.
So I think where dopamine is your own self-reward thing, oxytocin's like more of a community based hormone chemical. Sorry, listen to me.
Yes.
Yeah, so any like physical contact, I guess, would be the best way to get oxytocin. And then, like these said, obviously playing with dogs, anything that makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside.
And I mean, it is all physical, majority of the examples. I mean, the only thing that's not really physical is if you have to give someone a compliment or receive a compliment, it also gives you the feeling, or the chemical oxytocin is released in your brain. But it's still like the action of speaking to someone, giving someone that compliment, like maybe gifting someone, whatever your situation is, whatever makes you feel giddy.
Feel good inside.
Yes.
No, I read here somewhere that Cupid's arrow is dipped in oxytocin. So
yes.
That was a cute way
Shoot
to
you right in the ass.
Alrighty.
So yeah, guys, oxytocin is also, I think it's super important. Like, no one's saying that you have to do something physical with all of these things every day. I mean, you may not have a dog and you may not have access to a young baby, so it may be really difficult. But I mean, hold your partner's hand, or like when you see your friend, give your friend a hug. Maybe for one day, hold the hug for like longer than 3 seconds. Roxy's worse nightmare. I'm literally looking at her while I'm saying this. I'm like, Rox gets oxytocin from her hubby, but she's not much of a physical person. Yes. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. If you are not a physical person when it comes to your friendships, or when it comes to maybe your relationships, whatever it is, like pick something that makes you feel giddy and love, and there you will have your oxytocin chemical.
I feel like even maybe doing charity would,
yes,
because you're still like having that
Giving.
sense of community and helping someone and getting that like happiness, warm, fuzzy
that
feeling
love
inside.
giving. Yeah, I agree.
Number 3. Which one do you want to do then? Serotonin. The mood stabilizer. So I mean, what I have here is feeling confident and significant amongst peers. And serotonin also regulates sleep, memory, and sexual desire.
Nice. Guys, mood stabilizer, like we all know. I mean, if you don't know, you should be able to admit yourself. Like I know when I get into a bad mood, I may only be able to admit it afterwards, but at least you know that you're in a good mood or you're in a bad mood. And ways that you can stabilize that, like we've always spoken about, is movement. So, I mean, whether it's meditation or going for a walk or going for a cycle or a run, or also a mood stabilizer maybe for you sitting in the sun for 10 minutes, like anything it is that stabilizes your mood, that's going to give you your little bit of a serotonin kick. So, I mean, we also, come summer or winter, sometimes if I'm feeling really cold and frustrated and just annoyed, like I was saying to Rox when she got here, not before she got here, that, you know, sometimes you get so cold that your fingers don't work properly when you're typing, and like my brain's working a lot faster than what my fingers are getting too, and I get frustrated with myself because I'm just like, come on. And then you have to spend more time editing all your typing errors because your fingers are so cold. I'm like, I literally go outside and I sit in the middle of the garden and I sit in the sun for like 5 minutes, or I sit with Loki in the garden for like 5 minutes. Completely new person. Come back, ready to work again.
I feel like vitamin D is a good way to get.
Yes.
I mean, don't take my word for it. I'm not a medical doctor, but just sitting in the sun for 5 minutes or whatever it may be, like it makes me feel so calm and like instant like mood booster.
100%. I'm like, it literally gives me a mood booster and also want a nap. So sometimes I can't go for too long. But you need serotonin in your life.
Yeah, and it's also interesting to note that 70%, sorry, I talk too fast sometimes, of your serotonin is made in your gut. So what's going on in your gut is going to affect your mood. I mean, this goes back to diet again, but just like, I think making sure that your gut is working perfectly, I can't even speak, will help to make sure that you are getting the correct amount of serotonin, because if the gut ain't working, the serotonin won't be working either.
Completely.
And then I've also got a list of serotonin boosting foods, just because we're touching on that not for most of them, but for the first one. Number 1 is salmon, then turkey and poultry, eggs, pineapple. I love pineapple. Cashew seeds and nuts, tofu and soy, milk and cheese, and spinach. I mean, I feel like if you're just following a healthy whole foods diet, you're going to be getting everything you need in life in general. Vitamins, minerals, chemicals, hormones, all the things. Literally. And keep it varied as well. I mean, I'm the first one that's guilty of eating the same thing every single day. You'll catch me with my avocado toast. But then for dinners, I'll always make sure I'm like throwing in some new different vegetables, making up a stir fry.
Completely. And I think just touching on this, I mean, this has nothing to do with the chemicals in your brain, or it may be connected in some way, shape, or form. But I know that it's super important to eat according to season. So whatever fruits and vegetables are available for that season, it's super incorporated. It's super important to incorporate in that into your daily eating or your daily living, just because as human beings, the way that we live and the way that the world works, whatever's growing for that season is giving us nutrients that we need for that season. So, I mean, don't try to outsource. Yes, there may be things that you're really craving and that you want, like you really want a watermelon or an avocado when it's not avocado season. So you go and buy the hardest avocados ever and we like wait forever for them to ripen. But I mean, there may be, say for instance, gem squash. Say a gem squash is in season over an avocado at that point. Like eat the gem squash, eat the fruits and vegetables that is in season, and it's going to be beneficial for you. It's going to give you a lot of nutrients for that season. Like summer, winter, autumn, spring, we need different things for different seasons in our bodies. So whether you believe that or not is your own choice.
I think that'll also be better for your wallet, because
yes,
avos off season are
completely every fruit or veggie that's in season is always the cheapest.
Yes, yeah. And you can almost see just by looking at them that they're in.
And there's an abundance of it, and it's super fresh, and it literally has just come straight from the ground. So please do yourself a favor and do that. Okay, then just to touch on the last, also let me just say one more thing about serotonin, guys. I think it's super important to realize that we always are avid people for body movement and doing something, like we say, for even 5 minutes a day. And I think a lot of us can relate to maybe not relate, maybe think about one person as an example in our lives, whether it be someone that's distant from you or someone that's close to you, or it may be you yourself or someone that's directly in your family. It could be your dad or your mom, or it could be an uncle or an aunt, or it could be your partner's family members. It could be super distant. Who knows where it comes from? But there will always be a person in your life that I can think of a few in my life that are always in a bad mood, and they find it so difficult to make themselves happy, but they also do no movement, like not even a walk in nature, not even a 5-minute like cycle, not even, there's nothing, like no movement is ever done. And it's so hard to get that serotonin boost in your brain if you are not moving your body. And like we always say, it doesn't have to be 4 hours of exercise a day. Like literally a 5-minute walk in nature or sitting in the sun and actually appreciating it will give you that little serotonin boost. But if you're going to do nothing about your serotonin, you honestly are going to be in a bad mood all the time. And it's super shit. Just super that's my last point about serotonin. I was just thinking now, I know so many people that don't move their bodies and they're always in a bad mood and like short-tempered, and it's just frustrating to be around.
Yeah, I guess you just need that release as well.
Yes.
I mean, if it's not for the serotonin and all the other happiness chemicals that come from exercise, it's just getting that frustration out by doing movement. Like moving your body allows the energy to flow. So there's so many reasons to move your body, and you do it whatever way you enjoy doing it the most.
Move your body. And I mean, that point leads us to the last little chemical, which is endorphins. I think that's the one everyone's most commonly heard about, because once again, endorphins are painkillers, number one, but number two, endorphins are also released by exercise. So that's why I'm linking the two. And everyone always says, I need that endorphin release. Like, let me go exercise. So the same way you'll get a serotonin boost and a mood booster by going for a walk, you're also going to get endorphins. So it's like a double whammy. You get two chemicals out of one. Yeah, exactly.
There's so many ways that you can release endorphins, and I mean, it's going to be so specific to different people, because people find happiness from different things. That's just the short end of it. I mean, if I think about myself, I love comedies. I will not watch I would normally not watch any other movies, but like my number one go-to is always comedies. There's nothing better than watching a movie that makes you laugh all the time.
Literally, Ryan mocks me all the time, because every single time, I mean, every time we've tried to watch a movie, that since we've been together, Ryan's always like, what are we going to watch? So I'm like, comedy. Now he just goes, what are we going to watch? Let me guess, comedy. And I'm like, it's like, why do you not want to like sit at your TV and laugh? Honestly, I can't watch a horror anymore. Like I watch a horror with Ryan and he goes straight to bed, and I'm just sitting there thinking about my life and all these bad things, and I'm just like, I need to watch comedy after I watch a horror. So what's the point? Let's just watch comedy. But like Rox is saying, watch a comedy, guys. That's like an amazing way, which links to laughter. Just laughter in general. I don't know if you've ever had anything, I'm sure everyone's had something bad happen to them, or you may just be feeling super down and you go for coffee with your friend or for lunch, or you spend break time with your friends, and just having like a full-on giggle and having someone make you laugh just makes you feel so much better afterwards. Like that's I love to have a good laugh. Like I mean, think about it, you may not even have had something bad happen. You may actually just go for drinks or lunch with your friends, and it ends up being such a great lunch because you're all just sitting and hosing yourselves the whole time. And you think about it afterwards, almost like it's like a first date that you've been on. You're just like, I can't stop thinking about the lunch we had. Like it was so much fun, and we just laughed so much. I feel so great. Laughter is the best medicine. It's not just a cheesy saying.
So yeah, find the things that make you feel excited and happy. I mean, I love dancing around like a mad thing. I love singing at the top of my voice in my car to my favorite tunes. So whatever like gives you that feeling of intense happiness, just go do it. It's going to be the best feeling when those endorphins are released. And also, I've read once that there was a study that even just smiling when you're in a bad mood releases endorphins. So I mean, you're gonna feel so stupid sitting by yourself and you're like hating your life or hating the world or whatever your issue is. Just smile. It's immediately gonna make you feel better.
I love that you were talking about singing, because I'm like, honestly, I used to be the kind of person that cared like way too much about what people thought about me. Now, one of the things that makes me like the most happiest, and then I think I get like every chemical release from, is I go for a walk. Like we said, it doesn't have to be high intensity exercise. I go for a walk, I have my headphones on, and I have a different playlist for like however I'm feeling that day. I really don't know what I'm going to feel like listening to, but then I start listening to one playlist and I'm like, start listening to another one. You find the playlist that works for you, and I swear to God, I literally walk around my area. People must think I'm nuts. I have my headphones on and I sing the lyrics literally at the top of my lungs. So I'll honestly listen to like 2000s tracks where I know every single word to every single song. I walk around my area and I'm literally singing at the top of my lungs, and then someone runs past me and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. But at the same time, I don't care. Carry on singing. I'm like, people are approaching you. I'm like, I don't care. I carry on singing. Like, you just feel so happy. I mean, like Rox is saying, whether it's singing or dancing or whatever it is, it will literally give you that endorphin release. And also, once again, for endorphins, it's a natural painkiller if you eat dark chocolate.
Just saying. I also had a little thing which are strategies to improve endorphin levels. So I mean, I'm not going to go too heavily into each of them, but anti-inflammatory diet, if you guys want more information, you can just Google. That's what Google's there for. Regular sun exposure, like we've said, I think sun cures everything except sunburn.
Guys, we are not promoting you going to sit in the sun for an hour without sunscreen on. #no.
Listening to your favorite music, eating some dark chocolate, like B said.
Dark chocolate.
Consider acupuncture. Acupuncture is amazing, guys. I know it sounds so weird having people shove needles in your body, but I think it's one of the best things I've ever done. Whether it's for, I never actually thought that you could use it for endorphins. I just use it for injuries and like tense spots, but it's like old ancient Chinese wisdom, so I'm sure they know a thing or two about.
I know a lot of people that swear by acupuncture. Like, I've just been way too scared. I'm such a ninny when it comes to needles. Like, honestly, I just cannot do it. I'm just way too shit scared. Apparently it's amazing.
Yeah, and you don't actually feel the needle going in.
I don't care about the feeling. I just can't see it. It's like, even when I go get bloods now, because since I've literally have to go once a month for bloods. God help me, I hate needles. Ryan honestly has to hold my hand, and I just go like this, and I'm like, she's like, are you okay? I'm like, I just can't look. Like, I don't care about the feeling. I just can't see it go into my skin. It makes me I don't know what it is. I'm like,
okay, so you won't be acupuncturing your endorphins in.
No way. I'm like, that's on the bottom of my list. Like, I'll eat dark chocolate before I go for acupuncture.
All good. It's all each to their own.
Each to their own. Pick your medicine or your poison.
Okay, then deep breathing, regular exercise. Obviously, that gives you everything you need. Practicing stretching exercises or yoga, and then laugh and play. So I mean, most of these we've already spoken about, but just if you guys needed a list to choose from.
And I like that you brought up the point about deep breathing, because even I went to my yoga class the other day, and the one yoga instructor is also a breathwork teacher, and she was saying that it's so scary now since COVID and everyone having to wear masks all the time, how so many people like forget to breathe and forget to take deep breaths. And a lot of people just aren't connected to their breath anymore. And we don't take as deep breaths as we used to, or we don't get to take in as much oxygen as we used to. So I think it's just important for every single person. I mean, no one's saying that you have to go and do 40 minutes of breath work, but even if it's just before you close your eyes at night and you're lying on your pillow, to just remember, or throughout the day, to just be more conscious of maybe taking a couple deep breaths every hour or whatever it is. Just be conscious and take those deep breaths. It's so important for our mind, for our bodies, for everything, to take those deep breaths and to have that like fresh oxygen, because we really are limited, especially in our country. We're one of the only countries that have to walk around with masks all the time. So be careful, make sure to do your breaths.
Yeah. And I think also, like, especially if you're struggling with stress and anxiety, doing breath work immediately like calms your like your stress system. What's it called again?
Receptors.
Yeah,
yes.
Whatever. I had this perfect sentence in my head, but I forgot.
And it's true. It is true.
Oh, it calms the nervous system.
Yes.
Lol, hello.
Yes.
It's definitely a Monday for me.
Always a Monday. I'm like, why do we record on Monday?
I don't know, girl. So yeah, deep breathing out. That's an amazing way.
Yes. And like Rox is saying, guys, with stress and anxiety and deep breathing, like, I mean, we can tell you, but like we always say, that's also a very easy thing that you can find on Google. There are a million different ways that you can breathe in order to help different things. I think we also spoke about this, that Jay Shetty's got it in his book as well. He gives you different breath work for different things. Like there's ways that you can breathe to calm anxiety. There's ways that you can breathe to like build courage. There's ways that you can breathe for different things. It will just be like a different amount of counts in, maybe to hold for a different amount of counts and a different amount of release out. So maybe just Google if you're really struggling with anxiety, or maybe it's stress, or maybe it's pain, whatever it is. Just Google breath work for pain or breath work for anxiety, and it will literally tell you, okay, breathe in for 8 counts, hold for 4 counts, breathe out for 8 counts, and hold for 4 counts at the bottom, or whatever it is. It will be a breath work cycle, and it really does help. I mean, like we say, first thing in the morning, or before you go to bed, or maybe it's at your lunchtime. Just find a way to breathe.
Or even just when you feel like you need to take a step back and recenter before you carry on, whether you're feeling stressed out or sad or unmotivated, you'll always find that doing a bit of breath work fixes everything.
A lot of the time we just get so overwhelmed at the way our minds are working and everything around us that you actually forget to breathe. And the minute you, like Rox is saying, take a step back and just take a deep breath, like it really just releases a lot and helps you to feel better. But yeah, guys, those are some ways that you can touch or hack into your happiness brain chemicals.
Happy.
And I think it's important. I mean, like we always say, we always want to be happy, but sometimes people, I think, strive too much for happiness that they end up being disappointed. So just live your life every day and make sure that you're doing little things and taking little steps towards being happier and not focusing on like happiness as the end goal. But these are all ways that you can hack into your little brain receptors and the chemicals that will release some happiness. And like we said, this is scientifically proven. So you will be able to make yourself feel happier and to feel feelings of love and joy and all the good fuzzy feelings.
And like you said, remember, happiness is the journey. It's not the destination. So being present and happy in every moment is really going to lead to you living a happier life. And like they say, happiness comes from within. And I think 100%. We proved that today from the 4 happiness chemicals, because where else are you going to get them than from inside your body that produces them? Obviously, with exception to, we need people in our lives and healthy diet and movement and stuff. But just remember that you can completely change your life by just doing the things that bring more happiness into your life.
Completely. I mean, it seems so simple, guys, but literally just letting go of the things that make you unhappy will make you happier. It's like a balance scale,
it's an
like
equation.
A seesaw. Exactly. So on that note, we just want to end with a cute quote that we found. It doesn't have an author, so author unknown.
Sorry, not sorry.
But it just says that life is chemistry. Dilute your sorrow, evaporate your worries, filter your mistakes, and boil your ego, and you will get the perfect crystal of happiness.
I love that.
So, I mean, that's super cute. That's like all the stuff we usually touch on. But yeah, just a nice way to end off this podcast and just to think about ways to make yourself a little bit happier every day.
And like always, thank you guys so much for listening and taking time out of your day to spend some time with us. We appreciate every single last one of you. And we'll chat to you guys soon.
Yes, we have our next podcast is actually a really important guest. So you guys are going to dig that.
Yeah. I mean, if you follow us on Instagram, you'll see that we've been asking a few questions, because we want to actually be able to let you guys ask questions when we do have like specialist
Mhm.
guests on. So if you want to be able to get involved and ask questions on guests that we have coming up in the future, and we have really exciting ones coming up, follow us on Instagram at Health and Harmony Goals and pop us your questions. Watch our stories, because that's basically where we post all our exciting things that are coming up, and then you can get involved with us.
Yes.
But until next time,
See you later.
love you. Bye.
Bye.